I'm Craig. I'm here in partnership with the Rigging Lab Academy. In a few minutes, Jason's going to walk you through a whole bunch of different setups on artificial high directionals and offsets. He'll go through about 4 or 5 different options. I just want to make sure that before we get to that point, we have an understanding of some of the fundamental concepts, what the vector forces are and how they work, how we can manage those. Again, he'll give more detail. And then we want to walk through and give you some of the basic components. You're going to see some different systems and some different gear. And I want you to understand how all that works, so when you get to his advanced, more high-speed stuff, that's ingrained and you can absorb his larger concepts. But before we get to that, bear with me. I actually want to start with a little story. I was teaching several years ago, and I borrowed a thumb drive from a buddy of mine. And bear with me, this will come back to high directionals. And I used the thumb drive, and it completely corrupted, and I ruined it. And I tossed it back to him, and I said, "Your thumb drive broke." And I might have used different language, but in summary, I said, "Your thumb drive broke." And he looked at me, and he said, No. You broke my thumb drive." And at that point, I realized that was true. I was responsible for what had happened. And the reason I say that is, we talk about high directionals, and you can go and you can do videos and all sorts of stuff. You can spend hours on YouTube where high directionals tip. And what I want to get back to with that story is that high directionals don't tip. We tip them. So if we can take that same story of the thumb drive and bring it back to this, we're going to do some rigging. We're going to talk about tension and compression and how high directionals work and what makes them stable. At no point do they tip. They're inanimate objects. How we set them up and how we use them and how we apply forces and loads through them is what either keeps them stable or tips them over.